Recording. Are there any questions before we start? So I thought we would have some old data for a quiz on the movie The Matrix. So that involves sort of parsing, which we've done before, and working with arrays, which we've done before, and also with the radio buttons. So there will be, it's like a multiple choice test. So we will take a question, take the possible answers, put them into a set of radio buttons. So it should be a sort of a review of a lot of the things we've sort of been doing. So I'm going to start by downloading the zip file. And I'm going to extract it. And I'm going to rename that folder, I guess maybe Matrix Quiz or something like that. And then I'm going to put that, copy that, and put that in my 230 folder. Okay, and that has a text file in this version that we've been playing with it so far, which has a question, then a slash, and then the answer, and then a slash, and then a set of possible answers, and then a vertical bar in the next question. So that is, so we have this idea that we had before, say when we were looking at horror movies, where we had movies and then parts of movies. And then in this case, the possible answers is an array. So we will have arrays and arrays and arrays, because we will have each question will have an array. Then we will parse that to make at least an array. And then when we get the possible answers, that will be like an array within an array. So it should be a bit of fun. And we'll deal with, say, one question like at a time. So we will sort of push our way through the question, and then we'll, we'll proceed through the quiz, and then we'll have to decide if we're going to allow them to go backwards through the quiz. That is harder. If we need to remember their previous answer and let them change their answer, that would be harder. So let's get started. Just the basics. So we need to parse the file. So I need, now here's one of my usual questions about, so I have a matrix folder somewhere. Here it is, matrix quiz folder. And those images, I want to like display the images. They have nothing to do with the questions. So I just want to display these images to sort of dress up my quiz. And they are in a folder, matrix quiz. Do we want our HTML to be in that folder with them? Or do we want the matrix quiz to be on the same level in the folder or at the same level as the folder? Say again? Same level in the folder or at the level of the folder? In the, okay. So we'll put it in the folder. If we put it at the same level as the folder, then when we refer to the images, we'll need the folder name. If we put our HTML in the folder, then when we refer to the images, we won't need their name. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to make a new file. I'm in the folder. I think that's what was said. Matrix quiz.html. And exclamation, and an abbreviation, matrix
like,
quiz.
Mavericks, like in your talk, say you're the best Call of Duty player in the fraternity. Honestly, I could have said that just by looking at you.
That was
That
good.
was
I
funny.
Have a header, matrix quiz.
Dude, I forget what they said on me, bro. What was it?
Do we want to do some designing or do we want to do parse the files first? We have to do both. Do you want to make a page or do you want to start parsing the data? Make the page, okay. So the page is going to look like we're going to ask one question at a time. So they're going to have a question, then we're going to like move to the next question. So there'll be some place for a question. Then it's going to be multiple choice. So there's going to be 4 answers. So we're going to need 4 radio buttons. And then there's going to be like a button.
Kenny was goated. That was so good. That was probably your best performance.
So,
that was so like, I don't know how you thought.
Let's make a space for the question. Span, div. What do you want?
You just didn't really feel like
div. He wants a div.
I mean,
I only this position.
And this is going to be the div for the question.
And then I didn't go to banner. I didn't give a fuck about banner.
And it's going to be coded, so we need to give it an ID.
Yesterday?
And I'll call it div quest for question.
I want the banner, your banner too.
I want a set of radio buttons.
Dude, Doc is hilarious.
With labels, and then I'm going to put the possible answers to that question in those labels.
Third.
So I'm going to have a bunch under the question. I'm going to have an input of type radio.
Just don't blast music.
You see how these are connected?
What else do I need? What are my other important attributes of a radio button? I'm going to need an ID. And the importance that we're going to have of the radio button with the ID is just for it to match up with the labels for, so that they work as a team. We're not going to, when we work with radio buttons in code, we refer to them some other way, not by ID. So the ID is just for the purpose of matching up with the for.
Looking shit, so I don't want to miss it.
And I'm going to have 4 possible answers. So I'm going to have 4 radio buttons and 4 corresponding labels. And I'm going to get those labels from some little array. So I just want to say like,
yeah, like this.
Radio 1, radio question, radio answer 1, radio answer 2, but I don't want to start at 1, 2. I want to start at 0 because that will sync up with my array better.
They put you in psychology.
Yeah, I have
yes, no, maybe. So I want to call this, it's a radio button, it's an answer, and I'm going to say 0. Maybe do you want to like a dash underscore 0 or just a 0? What's that? Just a 0. Okay.
Do you guys have them on Snap?
So the purpose of that was to match up with a label. So let's do the label. And the label has a 4. And that's got a match. So rad and 0. So I'm going to have 4 of these radio buttons. And the radio button is going to have a label, and I want the ID of the radio button and the 4 of the label to match so that they can click on the words and not just the radio button.
Yeah, they're just doing whatever they're doing.
What else do I need?
Chilling, preparing themselves.
Or to have like a good functioning radio button. A name. The name groups them.
Billy showed them swears, and they were like, this kid.
And then so I'm going to group these 4 radio buttons together. So I'm going to give them a name. I usually say Brad.
I knew I was going to get in.
Tell me what kind of a thing it is. It's the name of radio buttons, and then I'll just
say nervous. I was nervous a little bit
for its answers. So I have its inputs of type radio with IDs that match 4s of a label. I have a name that's going to group the 4 things together. What else do I need in a radio button?
Obviously,
Math.
That's how I felt. I was like,
am going to get
yeah, that's what I felt.
Answers from some little array of possible answers. So what is a useful value?
Legit, but it's not legit type shit.
It's been a week.
So weird. I don't even know how to describe it.
At least there's something useful.
You can.
If I'm going to work with an array, what's the thing that's useful to have as a value?
That's crazy.
You
You know what I mean? Like nobody does it.
The index. And so this is the first one. So the index will be 0. So the useful value, the most useful value,
No cap. Like we're gonna be there
is
a
0.
while. And it's
We
gonna
can
suck.
do something dynamic
Are we gonna have food or anything?
when we're putting
No,
the actual
you're all
questions
eating
into the label. We could also be assigning the
You will-
values.
you just
So we
figure,
could, there are other ways to work here.
talk to them. Other people can
Um,
have meal plans. Or something.
Okay,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
I
well,
want to break,
We just asked her if she had the grade.
But I had
We need to be able
and
to.
then
No, I know,
I
but
need
Declan did
3
it.
more of those.
I don't feel like paying.
It's not. It's not.
I don't feel like paying $13.50.
So Control V, Control V, Control V, and then what do I need to change? The 0 to a 1,
Let us know ASAP.
0 to a 1, 0 to a 1,
Let us
and
know.
this time 2,
I
a
just wanna-
2, and a 2, and then 3, and a 3, and a 3.
Then why did you give up an 8? The only people I know giving up an 8 for a 6-pack are people who are trash.
So I have a div for my question. I have 4 radio buttons and corresponding labels. They all have the same name, so they'll be grouped together. I can only choose one. Do we want to do any pre-selecting? Do we want one of them to be chosen ahead of time, or not? He doesn't want that.
How much
Okay.
is it?
So
$20.
no pre-selecting, so we're not going to put any checked properties in here.
2 grams is 20.
And we need a button
Graham is $10
for
now.
if they answer the quiz to move on to the,
Dude, if you guys are splitting it between the
next
two, you
question.
guys are paying like $7.
so that'll be an in, no, you guys like the buttons to look like this. Button, we'll just say next. And
Holy shit. Oh my
for now, we'll say button next in case I need it to have an ID. I'll give it an on click of next.
Yeah, I'm in docs class.
And then what?
I'm during walking classes. It's
I
just
need a
boring.
script. I've referred to
Yeah, but I always go to class.
a function, so I should have a script and define that function.
I mean, I'm okay with waiting.
Is he good at this shit? Oh my gosh, he's insane at
And
coding.
let's just alert.
I can code like him. It's crazy. He understands all of it. He makes like
And for now, say
all the
hi.
time. Like
And let's see what we have so far.
Yahtzee, you know, to make that solitaire.
Where am I at?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Then roll up 3 joins.
So let me format it,
Yeah, but I'm
save
not-
it, run it in the live server.
I'm saying us, like if we.
So
just-
there is my header, my div with nothing in it, my 4 radio buttons,
That's what I'm saying.
which I can choose. They're grouped properly, so I can only choose one. And this button next that just says hi.
After getting in to go. And
So I
winning,
need
go back to
to
I don't think he's gonna
parse
want to
that
do that.
information I have in the text file. Oh, I have that, all those
Yeah, like,
images.
it's his night. Let him be.
Let's just slap them under the quiz.
I might be like
for
30
fun.
minutes late.
Okay,
I'm just gonna be with my dad.
so let me put an
and he's probably gonna be black
image here with a source.
That'd be kind of whack to be like, yo, can you run that?
Yeah, bro, congratulations.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to take away from you.
And I'll start with matrix
You want to just split an E?
0.jpg to start. And
Do you think it's worth it,
let's
guys?
see
Yo,
what
can
that
someone
looks
put
like.
Don's Instagram so I can see what he looks like?
That looks okay.
You know exactly what he looks like.
I put that.
Do you have his
Where's
IG?
my
I'm
button?
just curious.
He's the big
I
dude.
have a
Lost
picture in my
my
head, but I don't know
button.
if it's right.
He wears like a beard.
Oh, I need a break. I need that. I want the picture under the button.
Yeah, a ginger beard.
Yeah. I don't follow him.
But there's two guys in
Okay.
HP that have a ginger
But he
beard.
looks like that. No, you're thinking of Cade.
Oh, yep, right guy.
So there's my little quiz with my picture underneath. Okay.
I'll leave that decision up to y'all, I guess.
All right. We need to take some data and parse it. And we want to do that when the page starts. So we have some big, long
Where are they going?
matrix 2 quiz txt here. I'm going to copy that. And we haven't learned how to read a file yet. So we're going to just paste it in like we did before and parse it.
Did he just say? He just made a.
So I'm going to Control A. I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to paste
That's
it
not
over
cool, bro.
here in the HTML in the script somewhere.
The reason why he's doing that is because you're allowing him. Like if you just say no once, he's
You
never-
guys usually like an onload, right? Populate and onload.
Don't be letting that
You
slide.
guys usually like push me to go, which is a reasonable thing to do.
once they don't look.
So on load, I could spell on load.
Gonna make me
I'm
blush.
going to call populate. That's what I usually call it. And then I need a populate function. Okay, and I'm going to put all this text at the top of that. So what do you want to call it? Text. All right.
Dude, I'm so
Control V. There's okay. So I have
There isn't.
a big long thing. Let's see if it all stays orange. It seems to all stay orange
Coke.
Ow.
because my delimiters were slashes and commas.
I don't know how.
Slashes, vertical bars, and commas. So I don't have to worry. Sometimes I have quotes inside my text.
I brought up because I ran a red light, and she was like, "Never do that with me in the car. Don't do that in front of me ever." And Coke.
So I just took that big long thing. I made it the text.
I know you did.
And what am I going to do with that text? I'm going to split it. And when I split something, I make an array. And the first array I'm going to make is kind of a throwaway array because I need to further split it.
The bottle of some sort. Get myself some beer.
Okay. So at some point, I'm going to have some global arrays that I want to keep outside of populate.
I can't buy
But the
Katana.
first arrays I'm going to have are sort of throw away arrays. And so I want to have them just in onload so that we sort of let them go and if possible, free up that memory that we were using when we are done with them.
Maybe I'll buy.
Okay. So we're going to just
I'm straight. I appreciate it.
not an individual question, but a question and an answer and possible answers and all the related crap in an array.
Or something.
So what do you want to call that?
And Neo. But I'd be violently drunk tonight if I did that.
It's up to you. I'll split them
And then
up.
tomorrow.
I'll call it Q stuff. You're stuck with my stupid names if you can't come up with your stupid names. Okay. And we're going to take text as he
Oh,
said, and we're going to split it.
Something to your dad or something. What was it?
Bro, she wasn't.
And we need the first delimiter. And so let's look at this text that we're splitting. And I want the thing that separates
Is she doing
one
that right now?
question from the next question. Not a question from the answers, but the question from the next
She
question.
was afraid to tell her dad. She never even told her dad. Her mom told her dad.
What? You're meeting that?
So this
That'd be
slash
scary.
separating the question from the answer from the possible answers, that's not what we're looking for. Then there are commas, that's separating one possible answer from another possible answer. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the separation from one whole question to the next whole question. That is the vertical bar.
Called you a midget.
I know, bro.
I'm more worried about me and her mom.
So I'm going to split on the vertical bar.
Like, tall fuck.
I'm more worried about me and
It's
her
not a
mom.
vertical bar, that's an I.
Made fun of his hairline.
Vertical bar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Don't get me wrong, that's my
So now I've made an array of Q stuff that is all the stuff about a question. And then I want to break those down and have the question and the answer and the possible answer string.
boyfriend of the mom. Yeah, I know.
So what do I need to do at this stage?
But yeah,
Parse before, what do I need to do at this stage?
I'm meeting her mom's gonna be tomorrow. Anyways, yeah.
You're gonna meet
I
what?
already know. I already know.
We have an array. We want to do something with that array.
Dude, I was tripping sack when
We
I
are
flew to
going to
Oregon.
loop over that array.
That was scary as shit.
You were staying with them 2 weeks this week, but also like I'm gonna be.
So it's going to be let I equal 0. What's next?
No, bro.
No, I'm not gonna be
What
tripping.
time are we going to treetops?
I
5.
feel like doing blow tomorrow before I meet them kind of a good idea because I'm way more social.
Q stuff.length.
You know what I mean?
I never would think that, but
No, I
you,
like break
you've
out.
personally done it, so
And
I'll
I
trust you.
plus plus.
I'm super social. I want to talk to everyone in the room.
I can see that.
And what am I going to do here?
I'm a coding wizard.
I'm going to take the
Are you going to Frogo right
an
now?
element of the Q stuff array, Q stuff I, and I'm
No.
going to
I
split
mean, if
it.
you wait till, nah, I'm actually not. I can't. My dad's coming soon.
And so I need another sort of dummy array. I still don't have the arrays that I want yet. I'm getting closer to the arrays I want. But so I had this Q stuff array, which was all the stuff about questions. And now I'm taking the question and breaking
something
it
like
into
this.
pieces. So I need another name for another
You
dummy
know,
array,
No, bro, that's the most broke nigga thing to do.
which is all the little pieces that when I take a question and I break it
That's what-
into pieces.
That's what Migs got me.
Really?
Shit was good though. Like I fucking found that shit was saucy.
Get him a fucking twisted tea pound.
Q stuff 2, you want to call it pieces, you want to call it tokens, pieces.
Oh, I'm just gonna smoke up Gabe.
I'm going to get the pieces by taking Q stuff.
I'm not gonna get.
Have you ever
I-
smoked with it before? Yeah, that should be fun, man.
Bro, I was.
Dude, Gabe is
Who was
awesome.
Let pieces
Maybe we should
equal, that's why it's yelling at me. Q stuff I, and then I'm going to split that,
I fought for you, bro.
I fought for you. I saw.
split that.
as well.
I'm splitting that on, I need a delimiter. So now it's not the delimiter between questions,
I was
but
telling you that
between
before. I was like,
pieces
yo,
of the question.
Mine is like legitimately.
Where is this data? So who plays the character
Yeah.
Morpheus? That's
I
a
thought it
piece
was
of the
fucked up,
that's
too.
the question piece of the question, then the possible answer, then the correct answer, then the possible answers. So the
How you
thing
gonna,
between the
like,
pieces
how
of
you
the
gonna
question
get all this shit
is the
leave out?
slash.
That'd be
I was
so
like, you're
We
gonna
start
scummy.
with a vertical bar. Now we're doing a
I'm gonna
slash.
give him a big piece of weird shit we already did. Nick fucking gave us a bid. You're gonna give fucking, I don't know, a bunch of other, me a bid. You're gonna give Kenny a bid, Liam a bid. Like,
All right.
no. That's such cheese. I was like, if
Now
anyone-
we start to have pieces we actually want to keep. So I'm going
This
to
is
declare some
hilarious.
global arrays.
we
Why do we have some global arrays? So that
Shit.
they can be
Like I would
accessed
come with it.
by other functions in our program.
Davis is cool and you're
So
cool.
text only exists
No,
for
no, yeah,
populate.
I agree.
Q stuff exists only for populate. Pieces exists only for the for loop in
Gotcha.
populate. But now we are getting to some stuff we want to have a longer life. We want to know about at other times.
I don't know what you guys told it last time, but you guys.
And so what do we have? What is this? What's in this data? There is the question. There's the correct answer. And then there is a string of possible answers.
So I wish I could get a mail-in ballot.
So I'm going to make some arrays, some global arrays. So I'm in the script, but outside of the function that makes them global.
I was really bad.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to have an array for questions.
Dude,
You want to
Brian
call it
is
question, you want to call it questions, you want to call it
We got
quest,
some plates now and some shit.
questions. He likes
I'm
this.
so happy he's like not.
Yeah, he would be such a geek. Like he doesn't even. Yeah.
He's the only one I like.
And the next
Wouldn't have
one
been cool, though.
is for the
You
correct
just would have been
answers.
absolute fucking like an actual weirdo.
Answers.
Not like joking weirdo, like an actual weirdo.
And that's an array. And then the next thing is
What's up?
a string
Well, he's more.
of
He has to get his computer more
possible
to
answers,
code out too.
options.
But he'll like
Okay,
stand.
okay.
He's cool though. I like having him as a teacher.
Choices, yeah, because options may be a reserved word. I'm a little frightened, but choices, I like choices, I think.
Physics, bro.
PhD is nuts, dog.
Now, this is going to take further breaking down at some point, the choices, but so this is a choice string, but I'll just take choices for now and then we'll deal with it when the time comes. Okay, so those are the more permanent things that I'd like to remember. I've taken this long text string and we've split it on a vertical bar and it became Q stuff. And now we're looping through Q stuff and we're splitting Q stuff I on a slash. And so that is making these pieces. So I want to get these pieces from those pieces. What should I type?
Come on, baby.
I have this pieces array. I have a questions array. What's the relationship between the questions array and the pieces array that I have right now? We're close. There are two things I didn't like. I'll write down what I think you said, and then I will quibble with two things. So I think you said let questions I equal pieces 1. I think that's what you said. Two things I don't like. Two things I don't like. I don't like the let again. I don't let, if I let, I don't let again. Otherwise I'm making, if I have a let here, then it's going to make a new version of things and it won't be this one. So I don't want another let. And I still have one more problem. 0 starts with a 0, not with a 1. The alternative to this, we could have used the push. If you like the push, you can use the push. Let's stick with this one. So answers is equal to pieces. That's pieces 1, right? And choices A is equal to pieces 2, if there's any justice in the world. Let's console log something out. What do you want to console log out? The question, the answer, the what? Just to see if we're progressing. Good suggestion. All right. Okay. Do we want to, I can console log in my for loop, just sort of say console log, say the question I, or I can get out of the loop and console log the entire array. because it will support that as well. So do you want to console log while we're in the array, or do you want to console log after the loop? After the loop. He wants to be after the loop. Of course, after I position myself in the loop, he wants after the loop. Perfectly fine. So console log, we want to see things. What array do you want to see? Well, we can see them all, but let's do questions. And then do the answers. And why not? We'll do the choices. All right. Let's see it.
Something simple, bro. Puts T's. Mics are good.
I'm inspecting so I can see my console. I'm choosing the console.
Oh, bottle. You're trying to get him like
And
liquor?
then here's my array of questions.
I don't think any of them really
My
do. Just don't give them like vodka.
array of answers.
Fireballs, just say
And
vodka.
my array of choices.
Should I just get a fuck ton of shooters for them all?
Okay.
All of them?
I'll chip in for that. I mean, for my little.
So we have taken that big long string. We have parsed it. There's still one parse remaining. I'm going to do that parsing
Chip
on
in.
the
I'll
fly.
give like Katana like 2.
Here's a question.
I'm
Then
trying,
I'll
like,
parse
2
those
of them,
possible.
and he's shocked for the night.
So, because I don't want to deal with the
Like,
two-dimensional array.
drink on his medication. He can't have more than 1 beer.
Okay,
I'm not gonna let him do that either. He was telling me about his medication. Not
I
fucking
can
med-
comment these out.
Shouldn't even give him one, regardless.
Now next, this next button that all right now it does is say hi. I'd like to move
I'm not being the one
from
that
one question to the next.
is dying, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna have a bomb or whatever. But
Do I want? Here's a
Yeah, he
question
kind of
for you.
scares me with his alcohol a little
Do
bit.
you want the questions always in the same order?
Well, I'm like kind of tripping about tonight because if they're walking back to Basil's with those jackets on, they're all fucking bombed and they get in trouble. I've been tripping about that because I know, but I'm saying Gabe was fucking.
Okay.
I mean,
So
again,
now we want
with no
to
shirt on, drunk
shuffle,
as shit, stumbling.
and when I shuffle,
But I know the RAs are
like-
working the doors now.
I don't want the,
It's not security.
I want the answers and the possible answers and the questions to be
Or no, we were carrying swerves.
together when I shuffle.
I do remember that.
You literally had to care. Like,
And so where should I shuffle?
wouldn't use his life.
I just because those were security guards working. I know that RAs work the door now because of the fight.
Where are they still
think
all
RA's
together?
working now.
Where's one question separated from another, but all the stuff
outside there's like,
involving that
huge fight
question
outside of the
is still
entrance.
sort of
Now they got
together?
the RAs working there because the security guards didn't do anything. So I don't want Gabe or any of those guys to get caught because they're so drunk and
Q
RA
stuff.
switches on them.
Q stuff
That's what I'm scared about.
has once pieces I started breaking
That's what I was saying.
the
If someone's too
questions
drunk,
and answers into separate things, but at Q stuff they
and I don't think they should go to the
all the crap about a
crash
question
bash
is
tomorrow,
together. I haven't
because
broken it into the
Nina
pieces yet.
which is like the new like.
So if I'm going to shuffle,
Greek life person, she's been like she Oriana was telling me because she's
it's
close with it.
here.
He's been looking at a lot of like fraternities numbers and like how like shit's not adding up, like especially ours. Like there's people that are in that shouldn't be in,
Never had a
like
shuffle.
us. So we gotta like chill with that. Like we're
We're going to loop over our array.
the possibility.
We have a loop over the array. Let me grab it.
we have pretty good relations with all of them. So
We're not gonna get
Slim,
fucked for
but we-
inactive brothers, but we can get fucked for underground.
yeah, that's what I'm worried about. So I don't think they should go tomorrow. I'm
They're
gonna
not-
tell that today.
They're not.
I
if they find out
element of Q stuff.
or-
I am going to
Yeah, no, we're chilling.
eighth
I'll
element
also
of Q stuff
I don't
at
really care.
random, and I'm going to
I'm in now.
swap their
I
places.
was technically pledging.
So I need another index J that I'm going to get at random.
because my GPA was already good enough last semester.
So I'll start you off. Let J equal. What do we remember?
And 246.
Math.floor. Very good.
Like low key. I don't know if it would slide in some cases, but
And then what?
Well, I had like a 2.4.
Math.random.
2.9 or like a 2.8.
And then
After I had a 1.94.
better than that.
So my overall is like a 2.46.
I want not to have a number, but I want to get the number.
Live and you learn,
Basically putting in.
I have any feeling grades, I just have a D.
I wish she would have let me drop.
What
it.
was 14? Why were
Maybe
you
like
saying 14?
or withdraw.
Why did you withdraw?
So tell me another way to get 14.
The class left.
you should have went to the school
Stuff
about it,
that
like
But I
reported
did.
it.
It was in her syllabus. Like I did miss a lot. So it was either
Yeah,
like
probably wouldn't have won that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have because it was in her syllabus. Like I knew I was.
And
like,
if we have a different quiz or more questions,
but she could have been like,
it
all right,
updates
get off,
automatic, but-
it's fine. But she didn't. She was just like this kid.
All right.
Whatever.
I have an I have a J. I want to take Q stuff I and Q stuff J and exchange their places.
Yeah.
What do I need to do that?
I literally got a 90.
I missed like 6 classes, 7
I got a
classes.
92 on
So-
my final essay.
I need to store Q stuff I in a variable.
I would have had.
So I need another variable. What do you want to call it?
I'd have been one letter
Swap.
grade.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah, make
And
sure
that
you go to English class.
is, what do you say?
Make
Q
sure you go to
stuff
English class this week. It's actually important.
I.
Yeah, we gotta do peer reviews.
And then once I have
Yeah.
I saved,
Yeah,
then I
you don't
can
have to have it
put
all finished. You said, but
J
you have to
in
have like
I, because I is now safe.
Yeah, that's a 5. You have to have.
So
half
Q
the-
stuff I
That's doable.
Annoying. Yeah, that's 100%.
is equal to Q stuff J.
What, like an hour and a half?
I didn't even.
What,
start
a
it.
pure focus?
Does anyone want to throw
My dad's coming
And
soon.
then I can put the I, which I saved and swapped, into J.
What's up?
So I told him like he can eat my roommate.
Should we put the bong away and stuff, or?
You can. I don't think you'd care too much, but I'd feel better.
So let's bring back those console logs,
For like all my roommates, we just be smoking in my.
and let's see if we've shuffled up the questions,
I don't.
randomized the questions,
There's got to be like a.
but kept them together in the right thing. So the first question was who plays the character Morpheus? Hopefully that won't be the first question anymore. But whatever the first
He's gonna
question
leave.
is, its answer
You gotta work
will,
on that. I'll see him tomorrow.
be in the right position.
Next year, I'm not having. any
So where am I at?
for homecoming. We're gonna
Okay,
have
so the
fun my
first
because this is the
question
second
here
it?
is what
No, 'cause my
does
mom came down. Yeah, and you and Bolt came back.
Neo knock over?
Um,
And then it says a vase. And
She
then
matches-
over
they
here with the
hired him.
possible answers, the Oracle of Vase of glass. Okay, so at least
Yeah, she did ask that. Yeah, I
stuff
remember.
all seems to go together. And it's not who plays Morpheus anymore. So we've mixed up the order of the questions, but we've kept the correct answers and the choices together in the right order. So we didn't mix up, we didn't get answers to question 2 paired
was-
with question 5.
Everything was fucked.
Can't believe it's in 6 weeks though.
I know.
All right. What else do we want to do? I want to move through.
I'm out of my class
the
in 10 minutes. We can run FIFA.
next.
Why don't you just come
I want
through
to move.
I'm in class
When
right now.
you
My
click
dad's coming,
next,
so I don't want to be.
I want
when he gets
to display a question. And then when you hit next, I want to display the next question. Let's not worry about them answering. Let's just worry about moving through the questions. So I have an array of questions. I would like to move through them. So I need to remember where I am from one click to the next click. So if I need to remember something from one click to the next click, then it should be global. So I need something to keep track of my index, but it should be global. When I'm looping, I usually call it I. That's just like what I tend to do when I'm looping, when I'm looping over a bunch of things and dealing with them all at once. I tend to call that index I. It's just my normal counter, but it's an index in such a case. When I'm remembering it, when it's global and I need to remember it, I tend not to call it I. I'll tend to call it, question index or counter or something like that. Something I tend, again, if it's quick, a loop, throw away and forget it, I call it I. If it's something more than I need to remember, I try to give it a fancier name. So what do you want as a fancier name? Counter, okay. And we should start it. Where should we start it? 0. It's going to serve as the index of an array. And there we go. Oh, I need an equal in there. Okay. Now, what are we going to do in next? We may revisit this in a second, but that's at least for now a sensible answer. Okay. What do you want to do in next? We want to display an equation. So I don't want to say alert anymore. And this always gets a little bit funky, so we might come back and change our idea of 0. But in next, we want to display the question and then somehow move on. Now here's a, do we want, here's a design question. Do you want one button where they hit next, you sort of grade the current question, whatever it is, and then move on and display the next question? Or do we want 2 buttons, one for moving to the next question and a different one for, like, checking the current answer or something? Do you want 2 buttons? Do you want to separate getting the next question and checking the answer they just gave? Or do you want 2 buttons, or do you just want to do it all with sort of 1 button? 1 button. All right. So if we're doing it with 1 button, then we will need occasionally to check the answer. Okay. We don't have any answers to check yet, but just remember, if we are doing this all in 1 button, then we'll have more work to do in the next. Okay. So we want to display in next, we want to display a question, and then we might have to do something with our counter to either prepare for the next question or get the index right for this question. So do you want to increment the counter and display, or display and then increment the counter? What order do we want to do this in?
Probably to do counter after, because on the first question pops up, so you don't want to skip the first one.
It doesn't pop up yet. We can make it pop up. Definitely make it pop up, but we haven't done that yet. And these are some of the questions that come up. Do we want to write that? Do we want to write some more code and populate, or we can have populate call next, or there are all sorts of ways to do this. But one thing we have to do in next is change counter. And one thing we know we have to do in next is display an equation. And I'm just asking about the order of those two. At this stage, I'm just asking about the order of those 2 things. Do we want to increment and display, or display and increment? Display increment. Okay. So then, because the question is our counter right, or should we start our counter at -1? If you said increment and then display, then I should start my counter at -1 so that when I increment it's 0 and I'm at my first question. But if you say display and then increment, then I start my counter at 0, I display that equation, and then I might increment. And then I might need an if in here to say if I'm checking the question or if I'm moving on. But okay, so we're displaying a question. That was a div quest. That was so long ago. And that's about all as far as we're going to get. But this is a
Yo,
complicated problem.
what up?
Document.
chilling.
Same here.
Yeah.
What up, dog?
Hola.
Get element by ID.
Good. I'm just.
Div quest, I think it was. Control V.
It's raining really
Divs
bad here.
have inner
So I did my
HTML.
class on Zoom, and then
And we're going
now
to
I'm just
make
waiting
it
for Dad to get here.
equal to question counter,
Yesterday.
No, he's
right?
coming
It
today.
was questions, sorry, questions,
He should be here in about like an hour.
and then the index was counter.
Oh yeah, it was really good. We went up to Man Young. I took you there before.
And then at some point, we also need to increment that counter.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same place, but yeah, that was in Man Young. And then we got
So,
some insomnia cookies.
Questions right now, are we displaying one
Very fun.
question
I
and
had
the
the
next
ice
question
cream,
and
though,
the
'cause I
next
don't like
question?
cookies. Only pages brown cookies. with milk.
Okay.
No, you're so weird.
Um,
Oh, wonderful.
and the answer is
Oh, by the
no.
way, the
Oh,
time
'cause
I
I
was
didn't
coming
hit
for
next, that's
Thanksgiving
why.
break,
So if I hit
it's
next,
not like I was leaving later
there's
because
a
we actually have
question, how many
class
squeezy
that
attack at
Monday
the
and
end?
Tuesday, so I wouldn't have
There's
been able to leave on
next,
the 19th
how long
anyway.
has Neo been looking for Morpheus? Blah,
The
blah,
22nd.
okay. So we
It's a
have the
Wednesday.
display on the next,
Oh, well, yeah, call
and I
us.
don't have anything in populate.
Give her a-
One thing I can do is have populate.
Wait, is that the
call next.
23rd actually? Because that's the day before Thanksgiving.
I can have
Yeah,
populate
or I
call
might be able to
next.
leave Tuesday night.
Let's just do that for now. I may take it back.
Wednesday night.
Okay, but yeah, it wouldn't even have mattered.
But I can
I
just
thought
have
we had
my
the whole
one
week off,
function
so I was
call my
wrong.
other function.
But it is what it is.
And now there's a question
Yeah.
at the beginning.
I wish Pedro wasn't gonna be alone that long.
And something will go terribly wrong after I
long-
get to, I don't know,
How long
13 or
is she gonna be
14,
on her own for?
But we leave Friday.
because I will run out of questions.
Our flight is like 6, so we have to leave here like 3:30.
You never would have done that for me. That's crazy.
So I've run out of time, so I don't
That's
have
crazy,
time
Mom.
to
What
deal
times have
with
changed.
running out of questions. But we do run out of questions. We want to change the pictures. We want to we want to display the possible
getting
answers. We
easy
want to
for
check answers.
You're
Maybe,
so-
I
you're
don't
so
know. Do we
mean.
want to do this? Maybe we'll give up. But it was at least, it's a review of parsing, of arrays, we haven't dealt too much with the radio buttons yet, but a little bit on radio buttons. So it was
Yeah,
fun while it lasted, and it might last another day. We'll see what I feel like on Monday.
So it died.
Any questions for the recording?
I was thinking it, and he said, "Oh, it's not gonna be as good as mine."
Recording.